So guys, I thought what I'd do tonight is come out and do a little frog gigging. This is a modification that I do to all, let me see if I can make sure you can see that. This is a modification that I do to all my gigs. I take them in a, with a hammer or just put them in a bench vise, and I squeeze them down and flatten them out. One, they fit a little bit better in your pack. They can slide down and fit really slim and trim and don't stick out and don't protrude at all. And two, it makes it really easy to lash them onto a makeshift gig pole. Yeah, so this one's pretty straight, about the right thickness. It should work really well, I think. Get all the spiders and stuff off of it. So I'm gonna clean off all the branches, and then I'm gonna split one end, and then because my gig is, I'm probably blinding you with my light. I'm gonna split one end, and because my gig's nice and flat, I'll be able to insert it in there and then lash it on with a short piece of cordage. So let me get to work on that, and then I'll show you what I'm doing. All right, so my gig pole here is about, yeah, it's about as tall as me, maybe a little longer. So it's about 6 feet long, which is about right. I like 6 to 8 feet, somewhere in that ballpark. Anything longer is look kind of hard to manage, walking through the thick brush and stuff like that. But anything shorter gets you too close to the frogs, and you'll spook them, and they'll jump off before you can actually stick them. But having kind of a stick about this size, a gig about this size, about 1 inch in diameter maybe, is doubles as kind of a walking stick as you're going through the uneven ground, walking through creeks and muck and mud and the ponds and whatnot. So it's kind of nice to have something a little bit sturdy. You want it at least as tall as you are, because if you've got a sharp pokey thing on here on the end of it and you're using it as a walking stick, for obvious reasons you don't want it shorter than you are, because if you were to slip and fall, you might get stuck. So we don't want that, obviously. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my knife here, and I'm going to split it down the middle just a little bit, only just a few inches, maybe to that first branch right here. Hopefully you can see it. I'm going to split it to there, and then I'm going to insert my gig, my 4 or 5 prong gig, and then lash it on there. There we go. All right, so I split it down just a little ways, kind of off center, but it's not really gonna matter. Then I'm gonna take my gig, put my knife away. And I made this little sheath out of duct tape, and it works great to protect those prongs from stabbing you when you're holding it in your pocket, or stabbing your pack when you've got it in there. So I'm gonna insert it in the end here, all the way up like that, and it's gonna look something like this. So then I'll take my string here, just got a little bit of tarred mariner's line, or bank line, as the bushcrafters like to call it. Maybe, I don't know, 5 feet or so, which is more than enough. I'll start my lash here. Towards the top, I'll just lay part of my line across the end, and then I'll just start wrapping around it. Going over top of the string, that piece that tag in that I laid on there. Nice and tight. You don't want it wiggling around on you when you're stabbing monster frogs. Everybody knows that. You just start spinning the gig, wrapping it. Doesn't have to be pretty, it just needs to hold it on there. And then when I get close to the end, I'll wrap a couple wraps over my finger, 2 or 3 or 4, something like that. So I've got some slack in the line. Then I'll stick this underneath, and then I'll pull it nice and tight, like that. And then for the short amount of time that I'm going to be using this thing, that will be more than secure. I mean, that thing's not going to come out of there. There's no chance. So, and because of the taperedness of it, it can't be pulled. It can't be pulled out that way. And it's really secure left and right. That's going to work just dandy. And that little tag end's not bothering me at all. And I don't think it's going to bother the frogs either. So I think we're ready to rock. Let's do some hunting. So we're on the hunt, guys. And what we're looking for is eye shine. Oftentimes there'll be glowing things everywhere on the banks of this creek. I doubt you can see it, but there's glowing stuff all over the place. 90% of them are spiders. However, the one thing that I've got my eyes on in front of me here has got a big round spot looking right at me. I can see one of his eyes, and that is a bullfrog. So what I'm going to try to do is get nice and close. I'm going to stop talking to you. I'm going to creep up on him, and I'm going to keep my light shined right on his eyes. And if I can get close enough, I'll stick him. Got him. So there's a really nice bullfrog right there. That's about as big as they get around here, maybe slightly bigger. Now a tip that you won't see on TV, people, that I'm gonna treat you to right now is never pull the gig back and just leave the frog on the end, because despite the barbs on the end of the frog gig, they will get off. The frogs are super tough, man. These bullfrogs are apex predators of this creek, man. They're eating everything that comes in their path that'll fit in their mouths. And they will get off of this gig, and I've stuck them through the head before, and I've still seen them swim off. So I've learned my lesson plenty of times. And if you're gonna stick a frog, you stick it, you leave it, reach down to it, grab your frog while it's still on the gig, get a hold of it, like that, and then and only then do you pull it off of the gig. Oh, he's on there good. There we go. So I killed him good, first go right through the spine, and he's donezo. But you can see that's a pretty good sized frog, and those are some good eating legs right there. So I'll stick him in my game bag. Man, I tell you, I love getting out at night and doing some gigging. Most people, I mean 99.9 probably % of people never get out and experience this stuff at night. Either they're afraid, or they're just lazy, or just don't know what they're missing. You see so much more at night if you're willing to get out and explore a little bit, get your feet wet like that. You see possums and raccoons. I've seen mink in this creek at night, which is pretty awesome. There's a big one. Grab it. Got it. Look at this guy. Can't see. Look at that guy. He's got some Mondo pinchers. Tiny little lobster of the creek. I haven't actually eaten these out of this creek before, but they taste kind of like shrimp, you know? Pretty much the same deal. And I'm sure this guy would be pretty tasty, but I'm after frogs tonight. We could have a nice big stew pot of crawdads and frog legs, maybe. I don't don't know. What do you think? Should we keep him? He's kind of cute, huh? Probably not really. We'll let him go. We'll look for some more frogs. But there's quite a few crawfish in here, so we could, or crawdads, as I call them. Crawfish, crawdads, whatever. We could definitely find some chow in this little creek that runs by my house. Right through my yard. I am so blessed. I tell you what, man, I can't tell you how grateful I am to have a property like this with a creek running through. I've got woods behind me, woods in front of me, big open field. It's just, you know, life is pretty good, man. I got no complaints. But they're quick. He's facing away from the water, which is to my advantage, but these things are pretty agile, man. He'll do a ninja backflip. Oh, there he goes. All right, I gotta stop talking and see if I can grab him. Got him. Look at that. We got him. So you can catch him by hand. You don't need to stick them. But the gig makes it much easier, especially if they're in deeper water. This guy's kind of sluggish. It's a little bit cooler tonight, maybe just under 87, like high 70s, so maybe they're a little bit sluggish. Actually, this guy's, maybe he's playing dead on me? I don't know, that's weird. I don't know. Let's stick him in the water, see what happens. See if he swims off. Nope. Oh yeah, he was just toying with me. Ooh, there he is. That's a jumbo. All right, let me get rid of this light here. Keep my flashlight or my headlamp on him. That's a good one. We want that guy right there. Keep my light right on him. Got him. See, as soon as I pulled him off the gig, he tried to go. Look at that guy. That's a big one. He is a jumbo, so I'm gonna dispatch him with my knife. That's a good sized frog right there. That's about as big as I've ever seen around here. So, you know, I wasn't even gonna come out and do this tonight. I was thinking about it, but I was comfy in the house and the wife's out of town. I was just me and the kids hanging out, watching TV. And there's that, that voice in your head that says, just hang out, be lazy, you've earned it. There's a tiny little one right there. We're gonna let that one go. You've earned it. You don't need to go out and do anything else. But then, you work up the will. There's that other voice in your head that tells you, get up off your lazy butt and, go experience something, So I, and the crazy thing is, I'm an idiot, I think we're so stupid as, we don't listen to that voice nearly as often as we should. I never regret it when I listen to that voice and it tells me to get up off my butt and go do something, have an adventure and experience, and I listen to it. I've never regretted it, It's always been an excellent choice. But then tomorrow comes and the same thing will happen. You'll be sitting there comfy and cozy. Nah, I'll just stay here and do nothing, watch TV or something. But that's not living, that's living vicariously through other people's lives, make-believe lives, Got to get out and do this stuff for yourselves, and have some experiences, share them with other people. That's what it's all about. So here's one more. That's a decent sized frog. He's got some tasty looking thighs on him. Let's see if we can get him and get it on camera. That's always the tricky part. Got him. Got him, got him, got him, got him. Reach and get him off the gig. Not nearly as big as that last one I got, but still tasty. I found some wild grapes. Look at that, they're nice and ripe. Look at the size of that spider. Holy moly. Look at that thing. It's huge. It's not happy with me being here. That is a big spider. I almost walked face first into that thing. Pond, as you can probably see, is pretty shallow. Try not to blind you. Sorry, I'm not looking at the camera, but the pond is pretty shallow and the sun warms it up. And the frogs in here are quite a bit friskier than they are over in the creek where the water's cold. So you've got to be real stealthy on them here, and it's tough to sneak up on them in the water because the waves kind of disturb them when they're halfway in the water and halfway out. I just missed a big one over there. It hopped in the tall grass. So I'm going to sneak my way over here this direction where I saw some more big eyes looking at me. See if I can get another couple big ones. So, bunch of small ones over here. I just breathed in a bug. Bunch of smaller ones over here, but I've only seen a couple big ones and I spooked them off. It's funny, there's quite a few bigger fish in this pond. The deepest part of this pond's maybe 4, maybe 5 feet deep, something like that. And it completely dried up one summer, a couple summers ago. And there was zero fish in it, right? The big herons came and picked them all out of the tiny little puddles, the little bit of fish that was left. And so there's no fish in here when it filled back up, but we got a big flood that came through, and I guess that's where all the fish came from. Now it's completely full. It's crazy. There's all kinds of little fish in there. Some bigger ones about that big, not, monster fish or anything, but for a pond like this, that's a decent sized little fish. So I probably need to try to catch some of those little guys for fun in here. Oh, I heard a bullfrog. Yeah, like I said, over here on this side, they're a little bit spooked, a little bit more jumpy. You get it? See what I did there? Jumpy, because they're frogs. The proper footwear for frog gigging is not rubber boots and is not waders, because every time, I guess if you wore chest-high waders, that'd probably work, but man, it'd be hot in the summer. But rubber boots don't work. They always end up going over top of the rubber boots. Keens, I wore Keens for a while. Those worked okay, but you fill up the toe box with all the muck and sand and rocks, and then the only way to get that out is to take off the sandals and wash them out. So I've discovered the perfect footwear are these chacos here. They stay on your feet really good. They're pretty hideous. I think they're super ugly, but they're very practical. They stay on my feet really, really well. I mean, I can run miles in these things. They do really well. I know there's one in here. It's just spotting it through all the brush and then sneaking your gig in. through it all is the challenging part. And this sawgrass here, I don't know what the name of it is, but the exact term of it, but it's basically sawgrass, like they have down in the Everglades. Cuts your legs up. That would be where the full chest-high waders would come in handy, right? Or I guess you could just wear pants and get them wet. I've done that before too. But shorts are kind of nice most of the time. Just gotta look out for snakes, because there are moccasins in my creek and in the pond. I've seen them a few times. So you gotta watch out, copperheads and things like that are after the frogs, just like me. After the rodents and everything else that lives out here. All right, guys, I think I'm gonna call it a night. I really appreciate you joining me this evening. I'm gonna let Jumbo over there in the weeds live for another year probably. Hopefully he's even bigger next year and we'll take him out. But thanks a lot for joining me. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you on the next one.